Hey, it's Jeff Goolsby here from the Goolsby Group, and this is not only the 2022 recap of what's going on in the Roseville real estate market, but it's the 2023 forecast for Roseville real estate. Now, there's going to be a lot to unpack here in this video, but I encourage you, hang with us and absorb it all and take some notes even, because if you're planning on buying a home in 2023, if you're thinking about selling your place in 2023, or if you're just not really sure what to do or what to expect from the market, then this video is going to be for you. There's going to be a lot of information here that will help you understand where we've been over the last year and what we can pretty clearly see will be some of the trends of 2023. Now, of course, we don't have a crystal ball. We don't know for sure, but a lot of what we cover in this video is going to empower you to make better decisions in Roseville in 2023. So, buckle up. Like I said, grab a notepad. We might need to take some notes, and let's dive into the market update. So if you follow any of my videos in the past, you'll know that I'm a big believer in strategy and process. And one of the strategies that we used in 2021, 2022, and actually prior to that too, 2020, we were calling homeowners and asking them, what would be your I'd be crazy not to sell price? And the reason that we were doing that is because we had less amount of homes available in comparison to the demand that we had from buyers, right? We had more buyers than we had homes to sell them. And so we were just calling homeowners and saying just outright, hey, if you were to sell your home right now, what would be the I'd be crazy not to sell my home price, right? Calling a homeowner that had a 2,200 square foot home, nice place with a pool in Roseville, and market value was probably somewhere around $600,000, and they might say, well, if I could get $700,000 for my home, then I'd be willing to do that. The reality of the market at that time was that, you might be able to get $100,000 more for the sale of your home. And we would talk to some homeowners and they would say, if I can get $1 million for my home, I'll sell it, right? And at the time that might have been $300,000-$400,000 more than what the market value is. And realistically, that just wasn't going to happen. I mean, those were crazy times, but not that crazy, right? The point of the story is, for the last few years, homeowners have basically been able to get away with selling their home for a ridiculous price over what they were willing to sell for. And in fact, the people that said, I would be crazy not to sell for $1 million when, their home was worth maybe $700,000. The reality is that with the trend of where the market was going, that actually might not have been too far down the line, right? If things kept going the way they were going, then we might have seen that trend, that $1 million mark occur much sooner than, let's say, 3 years. Or 5 years. The reality is now we are no longer calling homeowners and saying, what would be your I'd be crazy not to sell price? It's just that trend in the market has come to a halt. No longer is it I'd be crazy not to sell. It's more about what's a realistic price that you'd like to sell your home for. And so we're gonna unpack that a little bit, but I think that story and just hearing the experience of what we saw over the last few years is really important to add some context to what happened for homeowners, home sellers, and then also think about the home buyers on the other side of that, right? We were representing buyers that were willing to pay some home sellers I'd be crazy not to sell price, especially because in 2020, it was pretty clear that the trend was going to keep going upwards for quite some time. And it was clear that there was just not enough supply to meet the demand and that prices were going to they were going to increase drastically fast. So yeah, we had clients that were absolutely willing to pay $100,000 over someone's fair market value price so that they could secure their home that they knew they were going to be in for a very long time, secure the rate that they wanted, and the rest is history, right? That is not the trend going forward. And I'm going to go into what we see now and what we see going forward. So just know this, I am not a financial expert or guru, or I certainly don't have a crystal ball or any sort of psychic powers to tell you the future. My goal here has always been to share what I've learned in my years as a real estate agent, help you understand the data as I interpret it, and just empower you to make good decisions moving forward when it comes time for you to buy or sell a home. And my mission is to help you win in real estate. So let's discuss 2022. When I think about what happened in 2022, I really think about a tale of two completely different markets. The first part of 2022, starting out aggressively with massive uptick in values, low interest rates still, and extreme demand from buyers. We started the year with interest rates in the low 3%, with the median sales price was about $660,000 starting. And through May and even June, homes were selling in about 14 days on average, and homeowners were selling for about 102% of their asking price. So not quite that $100,000, I'd be crazy not to sell, but they were definitely getting more than what they were asking for. Now in May, we reached the peak of our median sales price in Roseville, which was $694,000, which was about 7% up from the start of the year and 19% up in comparison from May of 2021. So overall, in a nutshell, just a very aggressive market. Interest rates were certainly the villain of 2022. By June, interest rates had reached a little over 5%, which doesn't sound so bad, but when they increase at that rapid of a rate from 3s to 5s, that in such a short amount of time, it caused buyers to need to basically reassess their budget and qualification limit. It's not like things just went up $10 or $5 per month. Things went up hundreds of dollars per month in terms of their monthly mortgage. So due to the pause in demand, now we saw an increase in homes sitting on the market. We didn't necessarily see an increase of new listings because that also caused some people to withhold putting their home from the market, but we did see an increase in standing inventory and a general pause in demand. Because of that, the average days on market crept up and, well, essentially it doubled. It doubled in a very short amount of time. And then by about October, it tripled. By the end of October, interest rates were at 7%. So remember, we went from 3.5% to 7%, which essentially caused more of a standstill. Not a complete standstill though. Homes were still selling, just not at the same rate that they had sold before. So it really felt a lot like a standstill. Many home sellers had not yet adjusted their price along with the demand that we were seeing from the buyers, and the average home seller was selling for about 93% of their original asking price, which in comparison we saw 102% in the start of the year. A lot of home sellers withdrew their home from the market. In fact, from July to the end of the year, 350 sellers in Roseville withdrew their home. They canceled their listing, they pulled it off the market. They withdrew their home from the market, which is a big number in comparison to 2021. Throughout the whole year, 160 people withdrew their home from the market. There's a variety of reasons why you might withdraw your home. Maybe you couldn't sell your home and you were trying to buy another one, and or you couldn't buy another one, so you didn't want to sell yours. There's a whole lot of reasons there. It's not necessarily a failure to sell, but that is a big number in a very short amount of time, and it just speaks to the circumstance, which was a shift in the market. I know a lot of people were caught off guard by it, certainly weren't prepared for the hike in rate, but also just weren't aware or didn't know what to expect in terms of pricing. Now, some of those home sellers will likely return their home to the market in the springtime. Probably not all 350, but some of them will return their home to the market. After they've assessed their financial situation, they've figured out their priorities, figured out their budget for their next purchase, as that may have changed with rates, and also the drop in equity might have impacted their purchase as well, which brings me to the numbers. By the end of the year, the median sales price was $600,000. Now, these are preliminary numbers. We don't have all of the data just yet, and that could fluctuate by about 5,000, maybe 10,000 or so, but probably not. It's probably going to be pretty close to about 600,000. And this is the median sales price. The average days on market by the end of the year was 40 days on market. The average seller sold their home for 93% of their original asking price in December. And though interest rates have calmed down a little bit, they are still in the very high 5s, low 6% range at the time of making this video. So for the first time in a decade, we saw from December in 2021 to December in 2022, year over year, we saw 4% depreciation, which is actually the first time in, like I said, 10 years that we've talked about depreciation at all. Now keep in mind that we saw a massive appreciation over the year. Remember, we even saw 19% from May 21 to May 22. So while it's not fun to watch values come down or for mortgage rates to go up, I believe, along with so many other experts that I'm following, that it's temporary. And we should begin to see normal levels of appreciation moving forward, and I'll speak to that in just a little bit. All right, what can we expect for supply of homes in 2023? Here's what a healthy market looks like when it comes to the supply of homes. We're talking about inventory. We're looking usually at about 2 to 3 months of inventory for a healthy market, and that's here in most states in the country, but it's especially true in Roseville, California as well. We are a normal inventory market, which means we follow the path of inventory for us is pretty normal for the rest of the country, which is it starts in March, new listings hitting the market, and it ends in like late July. This is like most of the country. It's the season of life market type thing where we're following, school patterns, we're following just general weather, things like that. Obviously, we don't have some of the snow and stuff like that to deal with that other states do, but really, my point of all of this is to say, if you're making a decision as to when you want to make your move, you might consider that there's going to be more homes hitting the market in March, between March and July. That's also when the busy season is for purchasing as well. So yes, you'll have more competition, but there will be more demand during those months. Ultimately, I say make your decision based on the season of your family's needs versus waiting for the market to look most advantageous. Do what works well for your family, and working with the right professionals to properly strategize the purchase and the sale of your home, no matter what the conditions in the market is possible, right? You just have to zoom out a little bit and put all things into perspective. Speaking of market conditions, what will market conditions look like in 2023? Based on the data that we've reviewed, I believe that we're going to be heading into a normalized market, meaning it's definitely going to be more favorable for buyers than it ever has been before, but it also is still going to be favorable to sellers. Here's why. We've been in a market cycle that has really been defined by relatively low supply of homes and extreme demand from areas outside of Placer County. Bay Area counties, Southern California counties, people moving from out of state, believe it or not, are still coming to California, especially to come to Placer County. Now, though some of that may slow down, it still won't stop. As long as Roseville maintains its destination city status, which Roseville is rated one of the top places to live in the entire country, then more people from heavily populated areas like the Bay Area counties, like Southern California, like, other parts of the country are likely still to be interested in a city like Roseville, which is going to help maintain the amount of demand that we have for properties here. At the same time, interest rates have increased and purchasing a new home may become a challenge for people that are currently living here and want to sell their home just for the convenience of getting a new home or a different one. That's really not going to be the case, I don't think, over the next year or two, because the reality is the mortgage payment is going to be much more than what they're currently in for their property. So what we'll see is homeowners that are selling their home likely have some specific need. They need a bigger place for their family. They need a smaller place. It's time for them to finally downsize, and the upkeep and maintenance has become too much. We're going to see a seller that sells their home that's much more motivated. So because of that, we're probably going to see less homes hit the market, which is why I point to a normalized market. We'll see not a whole lot of inventory. We'll see a little bit less demand, but still overall a healthy amount of demand, which all points to a normalized market. Now the fun one, and nobody knows this one for sure, but it's what will home prices look like in 2023? We know that the median price for a home in Roseville in 2022, at the time of making this video at least, was $600,000. We also know that during the hottest market condition in 2022, we saw prices peak at a median price of $694,000, which is nearly over 20%, remember, of the previous year. Now, during healthy markets of the past, prices have lived within the space of what the average buyer can afford. Now, when you look at home prices and interest rates and what they were during the busy buying season of this last year in 2022, and where prices and interest rates are now, I believe that we have actually hit the point of balance in terms of monthly mortgage payment and prices. Said differently, our prices have dropped enough to meet the monthly mortgage payment from May's home buyer in January of this year. Said one more way, last year in May, the mortgage payment on that median priced home was about $3,700. This year in January, or in December, if we use that $600,000 mark with that rate, the mortgage payment was about $3,700. So we've met finally that balance between affordability, where prices were at their peak, and where we are now. Is there a little bit more room for movement there? I think so, but moving forward, traditional considerations like the supply of homes, the location, the condition of the home, and just general appeal will really determine the values of the homes in Roseville in 2023. Hey, if you're shopping in the greater Roseville area, you're talking Rockland, Roseville, Lincoln, Granite Bay, Citrus Heights, Orangevale, some of these areas, and you want to see what home prices look like right now, go to my website. That's search.thegoolsbygroup.com. You could also just go to thegoolsbygroup.com, click a couple buttons, and you'll get there. But you can see the data. Not just can you see the homes that are available, but you can also click and see the data for each neighborhood in Roseville. So you'll be able to see where prices are at, where they've been, and kind of how each neighborhood has been impacted differently by this change in the market. You'll find the link to that page in the description box below. Back to our forecast. What will interest rates look like in 2023? Now, to understand what rates will look like in the next year, it's important for us to understand how they work and how rates are established. Where do they come from? And so to do that, I'm bringing in my good buddy Drew Shade from Nordic Home Loans to give us some insight on what we can expect to see with rates in 2023.
Thanks, Jeff. So moving into 2023, the consensus is that we are at or near a peak in interest rates. Predictions are that we can see them start to reverse course and fall as much as maybe 50 basis points in the second half of the year. The run-up that we've had, I won't use the word unprecedented because it actually is precedented. In the late 70s, early 80s, we saw very similar times. There's a saying that history doesn't repeat itself, but it often echoes. We also had massive inflation and a recession. Right now, it's debatable whether we're in a recession or not. I would say we probably are. That said, the tough medicine of the high interest rate hikes in the 70s and 80s issued in an amazing era of prosperity, which I think is something we can all look forward to. Look no further than the 1984 election, when you have a president getting reelected with 49 of 50 states. That means the economy is booming, and that came right after what was a pretty dark time. So there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and we look forward to that coming, hopefully sooner than later.
Hey, thanks, Drew, for that information. I'm definitely looking forward to the light at the end of the tunnel for sure. And thank you so far for watching this video. I know there's a lot to unpack. We've covered several topics here in this 2022 recap and 2023 forecast. I have a couple more topics, and then I'm gonna leave you with some resources that you can go to next so that you can be successful in buying or selling or really just working in the real estate business. Okay, so the next topic is how much will it cost to sell your home in 2023? Now, selling your home over the last few years came with very little upfront costs and basically about the normal amount of closing costs, meaning real estate professionals weren't overly invested in too much advertising, too much marketing expense. Homes were selling relatively fast, so the holding cost wasn't there, staging cost wasn't there. There wasn't a ton of extra closing costs. And realistically, without much repair or upgrades, you could sell your home for a pretty good price. So you didn't have to incur any upfront repair costs or anything like that. If you did do those things, if you put money into your home and you did more, you would get more and you would get more money. And if your agent did more advertising, more marketing, and more staging or whatever, you would get more money. And the costs of both of those things produced good return on investment. Now, the same will be true in 2023 in regards to doing more and getting a good return on investment. The only difference is in 2022, you could do those things and you would get more money. In 2023, you have to do those things. You will have to make repairs to your home in order to get more money. You will have to make the upgrades that are necessary in order to get more. The agent representing the sale of your home will have to market your home better, more aggressively, get you more exposure in order to get more money for your home. And not only that, they will have to do those things so that your home sells, period. Last year in 2022, you remember the recap where we talked about 350 homes being withdrawn from the market. Now, that's likely a good portion because some of those homes were not properly prepared well to hit the market. They weren't marketed well. They didn't have the exposure that they needed. And well, we already talked about pricing. There might have been a disconnect there. However, in terms of what will it actually cost to get your home sold? How much cash do you need upfront in order to make those repairs and upgrades, etc.? Taking all of the information that I just talked about into consideration, the main things that most people are focused on when preparing their home for sale is flooring, appliances, and paint. Those have been my big three forever. Also layering in staging costs and any other additional upgrades that are needed to the home. So if you're just looking at flooring, carpet, paint, appliances maybe, and then the cost of staging, etc., you're probably looking at a general cost of about 3%. Now, if you're worried that you don't have 3% available, there are some options that exist. We offer some options in our team that'll help cover some of that upfront cost, and you can essentially pay for some of the cost of those improvements through your home equity at the time of sale. Kind of get it fixed up, get it in escrow, get it sold, and then pay later. Overall though, plan on a budget of about 3% in costs to get your home ready for the market, get it in contract. Here's what all this information means in 2023. Market activity should look a lot more like a normal market with an average days on market of about 45 days, kind of similar to like 2015, 2016. Prices might look a little bit more like the prices from 2021, although the percentages are going to look different. There are just less homes that are going to be selling for over asking price. And if the sellers and agents work together to price homes correctly, the average seller should be able to still get 100% of their asking price. Again, hey, please keep in mind that this is a complex forecast to make. Even with all the tools and technology that the weatherman has, the weatherman is still wrong half of the time. And so for this topic, we don't have all the tools to see into the future. I'm relying on my understanding of the local market and national market data that I have available and my interpretation of that data in order to come to conclusions for the average person watching this video. And what that means is if you might have a home that is a hot property that is likely to sell in 5 days for $20,000 over asking price. And at the same time, you might have a home that maybe isn't as likely to sell in 5 days. Maybe the home is the type of home where the pricing category is more in line with pricing it at fair market value and you'll be likely to sell for 100% of your asking price. Maybe we're not anticipating multiple thousands of dollars over your asking price. I guess what I'm trying to say is this. So please don't make any serious moves without first determining how this information that I've talked about is related to your specific home and scenario. And by moves, don't even make plans. Make sure that we understand exactly how this information applies to you. And if you want, I would highly encourage you to schedule a free strategy session with me. The link to my calendar is in the description of this video. It's free. There's no obligation to sell your home. It's all about learning what your timeline is, what your goals are, what your needs are, and crafting a strategy and a plan that will help you succeed when it comes time to selling your house. Even though we packed a ton of information and data into today's video, you might still be wondering about what action you need to take in order to thrive in 2023's market. If you're looking to sell your home in 2023, check out this video somewhere in the description or up here, I don't know, where I talk about the resolutions you should make to be a successful seller in 2023. There's some simple tips there that'll help you prepare and plan accordingly. And also, I realize that some of my viewers are real estate agents. If you're a real estate agent and you're watching this video still, thank you. Thank you for your support. I truly believe that 2023 will be the year that informed agents like yourself that are willing to take the time to learn and then take that knowledge and build strategies that will help their clients will absolutely thrive in the market. So thank you. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video, to collaborate with me. I'm open to your feedback and comments as well. I want this to be a mutual road, and just know that I appreciate you tuning in, and your clients are going to thank you for it. As I'm sure you know by now, I'm Jeff Goolsby. I'm a real estate agent in Roseville, California. I'm with the Goolsby Group at Real Broker, and it is my mission to help people win in real estate. So thank you for watching this video. I will see you on the next one.